What's going up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of Tips on the Beat with D.Royul. Me, D.Royul, will be making a beat, and along the way, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips on how to look at creation of music in a new way, or at least how I was looking at it for the beat that we were making today. Now, today's inspiration came from me playing around with chords. There's major, minor, dominant, sustained, sevenths, like there's many different chords. So I was just playing around on the keys, and I wanted to make something that sounded nice, sounded warm and cool. Warm and cool at the same time. Is that possible? Either way, I was working around with these chords and I found something that I liked. So I built on top of this one chord progression, and the beat came together after that. So let's see how it came together. Okay guys, tip number 1, spend time shaping the sound of your main instrument. What I just played is going to be the main instrument for the chord progression going through this whole song. But I want to make sure it's not just the preset sound that I picked for it. So what we have here is the sound that I just used to play that chord progression. And this sound has 3 layers within it. I can mute them all so you can hear it. This is the gated layer by itself. The noise layer, not too much of it. And then there's the pad layer. Now what I've done is I've went into each of them. As you can tell, there's nothing going on in the noise layer, so I took that out. The pad layer has this modulation wheel in it. And I didn't touch the feedback much, but I took up this flanger, because if we turn this down or adjust some of these, it sounds different already. And as I went into this gated layer, if I mess with the tremolo, I could turn it off, you'll hear the difference. Just that little bit of wobble in the background, that's what these forms do. And so I spent a lot of time working on this sound to make it bounce or make it move the exact way that I wanted it to. Alright, next tip. Use accents to increase emotion in the track. Now what I just did, I played 3 specific chords in that one section of the chord progression. Now I did that to be able to make those chords make a real stance and make a real impact in the track. So when you hear it, it grabs you. And so I didn't play it through the entire portion, it was just those 3 chords so that I could bring out an emotional moment in the track when it comes around, and so that the listener is even waiting for it. And if you notice, I did 2 different accents in the 2 different places where the first time it comes around, you hear one, and then when it comes around again, there's a second one that plays. So that's still creating diversity, even though I'm using accents in that one specific portion. It's not the same accent every single time. Alright, next tip. Cadence brings flow to the track. Now cadence means a pattern, and drum patterns are usually explained in drum cadences. Now this drum pattern that I created is one that's not as flowy or as mellow as the chords would have led you to believe that this track was going to be like. And even the hi-hats, they go back and forth between a regular 1, 2, 3, 4 and a triplet rhythm. So that gives a whole different type of bounce to the track alone. So you'll see how the flow of this track now is completely changed because of the cadence that the drum sounds have. Alright everybody, here's another tip. Different drum sounds for different parts of the track are what helps create diversity. Now what I've done here is created a drum pattern or a drum kit that is specifically for the verse, and then once the chorus comes, it changes into a different sound set. Now what that does is make people understand the difference between verse and chorus, even if there is no singer or rapper on it. But it also makes the emotion of the track change to a different feeling because the sounds are different. The frequency ranges that are used in the drum kit have changed, so it's not the exact same thing anymore. And when diversity happens, it keeps your listener engaged. Here you go, guys. Next tip. Different effects are okay in the song. There are many sounds in this song that are using the exact same effect. But on this one little synthly that I just did, I put a whole different batch of things on it to make it sound exactly how I wanted it to. Now, if you see this one little lead part that I played, most of these effects were not on it. The buses 1 and 2, they were not on it. The distortion and the chorus were not on it, and the silver verb was a little lower. But I wanted it to sound really weird, or whatever I'm gonna call it. So I put these reverbs on it, 2 reverbs on it, as well as distortion, then the chorus. So I did a whole bunch of extra stuff to give it the body that I wanted. And it's okay to do this from time to time. If you're doing this on multiple instruments, don't do this. But just this one instrument was going to be going through this process because I wanted it to sound this one specific way in the track. And there you have it. Another beat is done, and we went through 5 different ways for you to look at creating music in a different way than you may have thought before. Now let's review really quickly the 5 things I mentioned in this episode. 1, use accents to develop emotion in the song. 2, using different effects for different instruments is okay. 3, cadence creates flow in the song. 4, using different drum sounds between different parts of the song, like the chorus and the verse, help to give diversity and help to make the song what it is. And 5, spend time shaping your main instrument. Make it sound how you want so that the song can be what you want. So thank you so much for watching today. Remember everybody, creativity has no boundaries. Use your God-given gifts and talents to create something fresh today. But most of all, make sure you're having fun while you're doing it. See you next time.